There's a podcast that you should be aware of with the MMA Outside the Cage.
Let me tell you something. I walked into this building and watched the heavyweight disasters from the beginning.
This is Outside the Cage with Ike Feldman and Pete Hoffman on CBS Sports Radio.
DC, I'm coming for you.
Brock Lesnar, if you want to know what it feels like to get your ass kicked by a guy who weighs 40 pounds less than you, meet me in the octagon.
John Jones, get your together. I'm waiting for you.
Outside the Cage, which is growing like crazy. It's gotten very popular.
Outside the Cage, those guys kick ass. They do great work. They are connected.
This is Zach Gelb from the Zach Gelb Show on CBS Sports Radio, and you're listening to Outside the Cage. If you're not listening, you're going to get inside the cage with me, and we're going to throw it down because this is the greatest podcast of all time. You got me?
This is Outside the Cage on CBS Sports Radio.
What's up? Outside the Cage. Ike Feldman, Pete Hoffman. You know the nonsense. Go check us out all over the place. You'll just go search on the little bars over here. Click on stuff. Hashtags. Twitter handles. Nonsense. Brock Lesnar. What? Dude. Talk about one of the bigger letdowns. Like, I hated that fight from the get-go. Brock Lesnar versus DC. Didn't want to see it. And then all of a sudden, for it to just be dissolved so quickly. It was like never happened.
You hated it from the jump?
Yes.
I know you hate super fights, money fights, the unpecking order fights.
Yes.
I mean, all right, so we know where we stand. I wanted the fight. I wanted DC to get the payday, the promotion. We talked about this. The 2-month build-up would be amazing.
The payday, the build-up would be great. I love that. That's
Fight
fine.
night?
That's fine. Garbage.
Nothing. But it fell short. We don't know why, what issues, if it's steroids, if it's contract talks for Brock and Dana, if he's not feeling the motivation of an MMA camp, but fell apart, and DC, now he has to fight Stipe.
Which is a tough task.
Yes.
Because first of all, the guy's been off for over a year now. He's healthy. As long as he hasn't had any injuries and, fighting fires, he's pretty much healthy. Meanwhile, by the way, one thing on Brock, he's going back to WWE. That is something that I have heard. That like there was a
Ain't no drug testing pool there, man.
No, there's not. Desperation. I heard something like they were desperate to keep him around, which is crazy to think because I hear that Brock. There's the reality of Brock. He doesn't fight often, which is an issue. Which is why fans hated that he was a title holder. He held a belt and never
Sounds
fought.
like a Connor situation for MMA.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Really? Now you're on my side. I get it. But that being said, though, so you have the desperation between the WWE, but also when they were asked, I think they asked Nowitzki, someone asked him if he's still in the testing protocol for USADA, and there was no answer to that.
Okay.
So I'm curious to see, is he out? Is he just serving a 2-year suspension like a Paulo Costa for like 6 months and bam, I'm ready to fight now after the suspension's up?
If we're going down the USADA, steroid, Jeff Nowitzki, a.k.a. the Golden Snitch road, then I was going to say route and road. I feel like, what was the movie? Is it Black Sheep? The Ruads. If we're going down the steroids Ruad, then Brock Lesnar, the retirement's a fact. If you retire, you can do as much steroids as you want. You're out of the USADA testing pool.
WWE tests for their own thing, don't they?
They want to make sure you're on more steroids. That's what they're testing for. I mean, with Brock, he could. The timing's not right. The UFC climate's not right to come back. TJ Dillashaw just got suspended. A champion got suspended. Paulo Costa, a potential champion, has a lot of steroid allegations floating around him. A guy he was trying to fight, Yoel Romero, same situation. Any way the UFC could get away from steroid talk, it makes sense. It would be bad. The first biggest fight on the ESPN era is by a steroid user, Brock Lesnar, if he tested positive.
And a cheater in Greg Hardy. What?
Yeah, exactly. And he's co-main eventing Greg Hardy. The biggest loser in this situation is Daniel Cormier, man. It's like he didn't get the payday, the money fight, the fight that he could just ride off and forget about John Jones. Now he's fighting Stipe, a killer, a well-rounded killer, a champion.
And looking for
one of the most
redemption,
decorated exactly. Out for death, revenge. I want my title back. If Stipe wins this title and DC loses, it sucks because John Jones not going to heavyweight for some one-off non-championship fight. He's going to say, you want to fight me again for a trilogy fight? You got to come back down to 205.
Which is a trilogy fight is, hey, I beat you twice already. Why do I need to beat you a third time?
At least the storyline with him with steroids, with John Jones
Yeah, I
being a
guess
steroid,
that-
you
yeah.
could sell. He's clean now. Maybe DC's going to kick his
Clean
ass.
now, he's not. There's the picograms system. What are you talking about clean now? Come on, dude. Don't sell me on that bag of garbage.
Well, I want the fight to happen at heavyweight.
I want the fight
That's
to happen
next
too.
biggest
I want the
fight.
fight to happen, but you can't say, "Oh, he's clean now." That's just ridiculous. But I will tell you this much: it is a shame for DC Stipe because you do. First of all, they have to find a way to pay DC no matter what. They have to. They teased. They had the carrot. They held the carrot. Be safe. We're gonna get this Brock Lesnar thing to happen. It's not happening. They're going to make him go past his retirement date that he promised his wife.
Way
Now
past.
listen. You promise your wife something, you better make sure you bring more than a pea shooter, okay? So they got to make sure that they do right by DC. But Stipe is going to be on a mission, and he's not going to engage DC like he did that first time. He saw the knockout power. It's going to be he's going to hold his distance, keep as far away as possible. This might be a wrestling match, dude. This might be a wrestling match between these two fighters.
It'd be smart. I mean, it'd be fun. I think Stipe's got some collegiate wrestling, but I mean, DC holds the wrestling accolades for that.
Sure.
Striking, if DC goes in there not underestimating him, and maybe he was like, this short little fat guy, let him in close. I don't care. He knocks you out, dude.
Yeah.
He's got heavier hands at heavyweight. 50 more pounds on those fists. He's going to knock you out. That's why we both don't like this fight for DC. The motivation's not there. Stipe has all the motivation in the world. And credit Stipe. He waited long enough, man. I said, Stipe, fight a Curtis Blades. Fight a Cain Velasquez. Rematch Francis Ngannou for the true #1 contender fight. What does Stipe do? He waits long enough. His manager, Jim Martin, Walter, waited long enough with them. Now he's getting the rematch. Good for him.
By the way, I love that you said the Curtis Blades stuff because Curtis Blades put out a Twitter post too. I mean, again, you got to go through these Twitter posts and stuff like that. And everyone's furious about the Brock Lesnar stuff because Curtis is like, dude, you held up to the division. You held up so much stuff. That's why I'm happy that Brock is retired because now you actually have fights planned and you can proceed with the heavyweight division again. There's not this all right, Brock Lesnar, when he decides to come back, we'll have a title fight. It's moved on, but it pisses people off like Curtis Blades. He's had to go through the ringer to fight some guys that maybe he shouldn't have to fight right away. Like that Francis Ngannou rematch, I don't think that was the time and place for that Francis Ngannou rematch. I thought Francis should have fought a Tuivasa because he's someone who's going to force him to engage. Instead, he fought Curtis Blades, who's going for the wrestling technique to take him down. Stipe Miocic taught the heavyweight division how to beat Francis Ngannou, which is try to take him down to the ground. His defense is not that great. Backfired for Curtis Blades, and now he got set back a little bit longer too. So this whole Brock Lesnar thing screwed up everybody.
The funny thing is, if he comes back, and I don't think he's going to stay retired, he'll get that championship fight. It's like, yes, he won his fight at UFC 200, but it was overturned to a no contest because of steroids. Like Dana White, Laurie Emanuel, the UFC, WME, they have no problem forgetting about the past issues just to make the biggest fight. We obviously seen this with Floyd Conor,
Right.
Brock being a co-main event on UFC 200. If Ronda wants to come back tomorrow, dude, she could be fighting Amanda Nunes for a rematch. Dana White showed his cards, man. He will give enough money. That's why this whole I'm moving on from the Conor McGregor era. He's doing well with his whiskey. We're ready to move with rankings, 1 versus the champ, 2 versus 1 is bullshit.
What?
If Brock Lesnar didn't retire, he'd be fighting DC. Dana White wanted to spin this. This is the fight that DC. Yes, it's true. It is the fight that DC deserves. He's been a company man. But Dana, at the end of the day, it's the biggest freaking payday.
So Brock has fought at 100, 200. Do you think he's saving for the 300? Is that what it is?
There
He
you
take
go.
2 years off,
Ding,
come
ding,
back
ding, ding,
300.
ding. You figured it out, man.
Crack the code. You always try to figure out these codes. Like, how do they schedule these guys here? And it doesn't make sense. But that's just
300.
Brock is easy. Just every 100 fights, get him on there. Every
There
100
you go.
cards. Dude, there's also other things going on, too. It's not just about Brock. Screw Brock. He's out of the UFC for at
Actual
least 2
fights
years.
happen. Dude,
Yeah.
on ESPN, Bellator, I think one championship had a past weekend, but the UFC on ESPN, man, that was a fun freaking card. Jack Hermanson getting it done over.
Hermanson, dude, get it right, dude.
Hermanson.
People go at it with John Anik on Twitter about his. You know, listen,
Hermanson.
trust Anik. Don't trust anybody. I don't trust any of the scrubs.
He's fighting some guy who pronounces his name Ronaldo. No, there's an R. It's Ronaldo
let's be
Souza.
serious.
But yeah, he did it. He got it done in 5 rounds.
Just say Jacare.
And Hermanson got it done against Jacare. And you just said this on the Mike's On app. You guys can download, subscribe. That Hermanson wants Chris Weidman next. I love the call out.
I love the call out. It's respectable because listen, Weidman's not been on a little decline lately, but still a challenge for sure. Every single fight that Weidman has, he's winning. And then there's like a strange turn of events. Go back to the Luke Rockhold, that stupid kick that he threw.
The Yoel Romero, he's taking him down at ease.
And
then
then
he's like, I'm going to do the same
knee,
takedown.
dude.
Yoel's
Yeah.
like, no, Chris, I know we.
And then with Jacare, just one punch, dude. One punch it all took. It sucked.
Literally.
But that being said, it's a good call out. I think Weidman is, still so talented. It'll be a challenge. It's not like Hermanson's going to run all over Chris Weidman by any means. I still have 100% faith in Weidman. He's put himself heart and soul into every single fight. He's just again, that's why I love MMA so much, because flip of a coin, anybody can win at any time. Weidman's winning these fights, and just like that, he loses within a change of 30 seconds.
Dude, it's been a cold run since he was a UFC champion. He lost the belt on the same card that Conor McGregor knocked out Aldo. Yeah, crazy turn of events. But you say flip of a coin, like what could happen in a fight? Look at these divisions, man. Hermanson moving up the 185 rankings. And now you got Whitaker, Gastelum, Adesanya, that division stacked. Look at 155. Ally Kinta this weekend has a chance to be a top 3. Justin Gaethje. It's not just Khabib, Nate, and Conor. I love like the changeover, and especially that it's on the ESPN era. Like, you don't have to be brash, wear a suit, and wear a microphone and wear a MAGA hat like Colby Covington. You could be a good fighter, and ESPN's going to promote you. I love that.
No, and not for nothing, but there was a time where the super fights kind of screwed this up.
Yeah, Conor.
Well, but not just that, though, but the champ fights and everything. But, like, you couldn't figure out the divisions, the rankings. Like, some people don't like the rankings. But to be honest with you, Bellator, I can't figure out where anybody's supposed to be sitting. I don't know who they're supposed to be fighting and why. I do like the rankings. It puts a little order, puts a little respect behind it. But now it actually is taking shape. A lot of these divisions are taking shape. Where some middleweight division was once a very lackluster division, it is more stacked than it's ever been. Same with heavyweight. Now that you understand that this Lesnar fight's not happening, makes sense of the division. And there's still some top 10. I was talking about one of our guys over here, Matt Casey's a big heavyweight guy. Loves the heavyweights.
He's starting to look like a heavyweight now, too.
Well, I'm just saying. You're getting in shape. UFC gym, Soho, let's go. But he was like, I don't even know the top 10 in the heavyweight division anyway. It's been so lackluster. I'm like,
that's an old take.
I was like, bullshit. Take a look. Dude, they have, you can go through the list. There's some vets that are still there for sure. But, JDS, Cain Velasquez, Tabura just got beat by somebody. He moved in the top 10.
Derek Lewis making noise.
Yeah, then you got the Francis Ngannou's of the world, Steve Bay, DC. The top 10 is sick. It is just... You go through these rankings, you go, oh, my God, I forgot how stacked the divisions are.
It takes time. And like the same thing with 205, Dominic Reyes, Volkan Ozdemir. Like, these guys came onto the scene.
Yes.
It's not just John Jones and Chuck Liddell anymore. There are guys building. And it starts with the champions. Khabib Nurmagomedov's coach, Javier Mendez, joined us when we were national, doing big things. Mark Chernoff, good respect. But when we were talking to his coach, he was like, Khabib is hell-bent on not fighting Conor in a rematch. He wants the Floyd Mayweather big-time money fight. Yeah. That could have, again, screwed up pecking order and a bunch of things 100%. For a long period of time. This is a good job by Khabib coming out here and say, I want Dustin next. Dustin is the guy. I don't care about Tony, about Max, about Al or Cowboy, a money fight or an easier matchup. I want the guy who's holding the interim belt. We're going to unify this thing. That's a great job by Khabib, setting order in like a time of chaos. We might be fully past the Conor McGregor era. Like, he came and went. What did it say? Sandy Koufax or Pedro Martinez, that's 7 years of dominance. Conor McGregor had that 2 to 3 year window that's like, it may not be repeated, but we may be past it.
I agree, and I'm fine with that because I like Law and Order. I do. I love order, man. Not the show. I gotta be honest. I have to openly admit I've never watched an episode.
Oh my God!
Especially the SVU.
I was gonna ask what's your favorite detective duo?
No, the sex crime unit thing or whatever, SCU, whatever it is. I'm not into any of that
Shout
nonsense.
outs to Stabler and Detective Elliott. Let's go.
Couldn't tell you
Ice-T,
a
where
thing.
you at?
But
anyway,
I love the order because again, like it's like John Jones. Not for nothing, but the guy, people are like, why is Anthony Smith getting a title fight? Why is Thiago Santos getting a title fight? Because you want to know what? They're the next in line. They've created the most impact in their division. They've climbed the rankings. They deserve a shot. They don't deserve to be close, but waiting on John Jones to maybe do a champ fight with DC for the heavyweight division, and then I don't want to wait around. I want to cash in on a fight, so let me go fight Joe Schmo and then get knocked out in the first round, and then there goes my title shot. I'm done with that shit. We saw Frankie Edgar against Brian Ortega. Like, Frankie Edgar had the title shot versus Max Holloway. I know injury issues on both sides caused Edgar to fight Ortega, but screwed up him. He lost on that title fight. We've seen that down and down. Tony Ferguson. You name it. There have been so many fighters that have lost title shots because of injury or because of weight cut or because of whatever. Don't hold it up because you're being selfish. You need to cash in for a champ fight. No, let's go give that next contender an actual fight.
We've seen that at the welterweight division, UFC 235, man. Like, Colby Covington versus Tyron Woodley should have been the fight.
Right.
Like, on all sides, the UFC and Colby and Tyron Woodley, he didn't even campaign enough for it. They all dropped the ball. That was the 1 versus 2 matchup. That was the champ versus the interim champ. That was freaking liberal versus conservative fans. It had everything. The UFC and Colby and Tyron, they missed a huge opportunity. But Usman gets the belt. Now he's ready to fight Colby. He's ready to fight whoever next. So,
not as big as Woodley Covington, by the way.
Right. I mean, now it's
the
like
trash talk is there, but it's still not the level that
it's the Ross Perot party versus the Donald Trump party now. It's not going to be as big, but dude, it returns some pecking order. Again, I've said this to you multiple times. If I had to jump on the island with super fights and money fights, the George St. Pierre's, the Connors, the Brock Lesnar's, or jump on the pecking order and rankings, you got to go with the rankings because it's closer to a sport that way.
It's closer to a sport, but it also, again, it not only the sport aspect of it, like, where it's like the rankings make sense, but it shows you level of accomplishment too. You're not just ranked because you win a bunch of like tin can fights. No, you had to beat someone to get somewhere. You have to beat this person to get over the hump. Hermanson understood. He jumped in and beat Jacare, who was a top 5 guy.
And he's not calling for a title.
No, he's
not. If Jacare won, dude, call for a title. You deserve it. You've been a champ in other divisions, other organizations. You deserve it. Herman said, smart approach.
That's like Masvidal, too. Like Jorge Masvidal says, I'm taking fights that are going to lead me to a title fight.
Smart.
And unfortunately, Ben Askren's the one to do it against it. That doesn't make any sense. It's such a tough fight for Masvidal and Askren.
You made the comparison to the Damian Maia. And I know it's not the best jiu-jitsu, but it's going to be the best wrestling.
Yeah, and we saw what Lawler did versus Askren. He power slammed the guy, made him bleed so quick, put him in compromising situations, and yet he still found a way to tap. Not tap out, but to potentially choke out. Controversial decision at the end, but beat Robbie Lawler. And again, this is going to be a very similar thing. Listen, Masvidal is a different fighter than he was versus Damian Maia for sure. Darren Till knockout puts him on a different level. But again, it's like, damn, dude. You want to see Masvidal versus Stryker. That's what you want to see.
We're drifting. I love Masvidal. I love everything. I can't believe I'm keeping you on track, man. Usually my ADD goes
all over the place. I'm thinking Lawler Woodley right now. I don't even know how that's even possible.
But pecking order, man. Yeah. It's back. Brock is like, we might be completely, I tweeted this, wrote an article about this on radio.com. We might be completely past or one full step out of the super fight, money fight era. Connor's gone, man. I don't think Dana White wants to deal with that headache anymore. Brock Lesnar's retired, a.k.a. tested positive for something. And now we got pecking order fights. It's fun. We got a big match fight this weekend. Our boy Al, you know what? He's had his disputes against the UFC. And he was public about it, saying, fighters need to get paid more. He took a fight on short notice against Khabib, essentially being a company man. They gave him a big matchup against Kevin Lee. He came through. Now he's fighting the most winning fighter in UFC history, and Cowboy freaking Cerrone.
It's such a like toss up too, because you just know Cowboy is a vet. He's a gritty fighter. He's gonna grind it out. You know, he lost to Darren Till, sure. He lost to Jorge Masvidal, sure. But he's in pretty much almost every single fight, and he makes it tough on all his opponents. But Al, on the other hand, he's like the rising young superstar who went 5 rounds with Khabib. Not many people could say they did that.
And he's doing it right. Like,
yeah.
He still has his opinions. He still kind of talks shit. You know, he's kind of against the UFC, but he's taking the fights. He's winning the fights.
Yes.
And if he wins this, dude, we spoke to his coach, Ray Longo.
Yeah, we did.
He says he should get a title fight.
He should. Again, and we said
dominant. I need a dominant win.
If you beat Cowboy, it's a dominant win.
Yeah, that's a good point because, Cowboy, win or lose, doesn't have boring fights.
Did Cowboy lost to Lawler? Or who won that Lawler fight?
Yeah, he did.
'Cause I remember went to decision. They raised their hand and go. It was just like, I couldn't tell.
Lawler did win that, but like barely. It was like it needed to be 5 rounds. The UFC screwed that up.
Right. And that's what you're gonna get with Cerrone, no matter what in this fight. If it goes 5 rounds, you're gonna get It's good. It can't be dominant. It's not gonna be dominant because there's no way to dominate Cerrone. He's gonna be active. He's gonna throw as much punches as you try to throw. You know, whether you land them or not, is another thing. Whether he gets to the ground is going to be another thing. It's going to be a toss-up. If Al wins, it might be by like an edge decision.
And he did just edge the decision against Kevin Lee, man. Like, Lee took him down.
No, but see, that to me, he had a more dominating performance versus Lee than Khabib did versus him. I think that Al dominated
Dude,
Lee.
I love you.
So
people
much,
giving
dude.
him credit. It's like people been sleeping on Al, man.
No,
like,
he
we've
looks
been
so
big,
good,
big
dude.
time for Al. We spoke to his coach Ray Longo.
He was picking apart Kevin Lee with no problem standing up with Lee, and it was almost to the point where you felt bad for Kevin Lee, like he's out of his element. And then what happened to Kevin Lee? He went up to welterweight. That's what happened. That's what Al did to Kevin Lee.
Punched him out of the division, man.
Like Kevin Lee was this hyped up Tony Ferguson fight. He
fought for a title.
Didn't he have? I mean, I heard
Staff.
that he had staff, whatever. But he was up there as one of the
We
top,
got staff. Hey, Nick. Yeah, we got staff.
He was supposed to be up there for one of the top ranked lightweights. He was gone before you knew it.
It's true.
He followed Michael Chiesa, who he beat. Think about that.
You're on fire, man. You want to get to his coach?
Sure.
All right.
All
Look
right.
in the camera and throw it.
We're gonna go to awkward throw. Hi guys, we're gonna go to Ray Longo now of Long Island training camp thing. That was an awful throw.
Yes. I agree.
We concur. And here's Ray Longo.
This is Cowboy, and you're listening to WFAN's Outside the Cage podcast.
I'm looking forward to this fight probably more than anything else that I've seen in a long time in the lightweight division. It's a grueling division. It's a top-heavy division.
And we got our own New York Al fight, man.
Yeah, and we are being joined right now by his trainer, longtime trainer, Ray Longo. How you doing, Ray? How is Canada treating you guys right now?
Man, I'll tell you, so I got here late last night, but I mean, the people are super, super friendly. I don't know if that's because the legalization of marijuana, but who the hell knows? But they are really, people have been super nice. Al's feeling great, and I agree with you, man. It's a very, very exciting fight with a lot of implications.
Listen, Al has fought for the title before. He fought Khabib. What is his mindset versus Donald? Because we know that Cerrone is looking for the title fight again, he's looking for a title opportunity again. But Al's right there in the thick of it too. Where does Al see himself? Going with this fight, taking on Cowboy, and is he looking at a potential title fight right after this?
Look, here's the deal. He's got concentrating on Cerrone. Had a great camp, trained really hard. Definitely, everybody respects Cerrone. He's an icon in the sport. And, for me, I want to just stay focused on this fight. But, I think a win in this fight puts him, for a title fight. And the why I'm saying that mostly is because he did save the show in Brooklyn. He took that Khabib fight on 24-hour notice, which I don't think anybody's going to do. And he put on a great show. I think he saved the card, and I think that fight has elevated him to another level. I think even mentally, he went 5 rounds with a guy that nobody really can do that with, and he did it with not even properly training. So it was a great experience for Al, and I think mentally it put him on another level.
Yeah, and Vegas, man, they're picking. Al had huge underdog odds going into the Kevin Lee fight back in December, man. But he put on a show. He showed that he had the durability, the awareness, the footwork. It was amazing. He was doing like the Jorge Masvidal switching stances, landing with both lead hands. It was awesome, man. But you're saying with the win over Cowboy Cerrone, he's getting a title shot? Does he have to knock out Cerrone?
I don't know if he has to knock him out, but I'm just saying for me, I think that would be the next logical move because he has fought the top guys in the division. And, again, Cowboy's a huge name. So we'll see how it plays out. But, the division's like you said at the beginning, it's stacked. There's not an easy fight in this in the top 10. So we'll see how it plays out. But, again, we're just concentrating on Saturday night, which is going to be huge, and I think everybody's excited for it.
Strategically, again, we're being joined by Ray Longo on Twitter. I don't know if you have Instagram, Ray Longo MMA. Great gym, been to the facility. Pete Sells down there still slugging punches at some of the students. Just kidding. He's a great instructor. Aljo's instructing everybody. It's a fantastic gym, fantastic facility. Ray, Donald's historically known to be a slow starter. I don't know if it's especially worse that he's cutting back down to 155. He hasn't done open workouts his past 2 camps. Is Al ready to step on the gas as soon as Buffer says his name? Like, is he ready to go and attack Cerrone? He was kind of adjusting, feeling out the Kevin Lee fight and feeling out Lee maybe to drain the gas tank. Can you give us any hint at the strategy here?
I can't give you a hint, but look, Al's going to put on the show. He's in a really good spot, and I think he's proven time again. He gets stronger as the fight goes on. If Khabib couldn't put him away after 2 rounds of just grueling wrestling, I'm going to say it's going to be hard for anybody. But he gets stronger as the fight goes on. He's got 2 5-round fights under his belt. He's very comfortable with that. And I don't know how long it's going to take, but I think, he's going to put the pressure on Cerrone right from the start.
We see, obviously we've seen Al over the past few years turn into a different fighter. Again, the Khabib definitely has given him that assurance that he could fight the best. And Cerrone is definitely up there as far as, veteran of the sport. But do we see that Al in this fight is going to want to stand with Cowboy, or is it going to be more of because we understand the wrestling skills of Al as well. He's a fantastic wrestler, but Cerrone has a good ground game as well too. So where does he feel more comfortable with Cerrone?
I think Al's, he's like you said, he's pretty well rounded, so he's not going to feel out of place wherever that fight goes. So on the floor, standing up, he's looking good. So wherever that fight goes, he trained for everywhere, and we'll see. Sometimes you can't predict where the fight's going to go, but he's ready no matter where it goes. I think he feels very, very comfortable, and you've seen him, like, again, with Khabib. You've seen Kevin Lee have him down. Neither of those guys could do anything, so his jiu-jitsu's getting better. His wrestling always was good, and his stand-up, I think, is phenomenal, man. I love his boxing. I love his footwork, and again, the awesome camp. We finished out as good as I could want it, sparring-wise and hitting the pads-wise, and it is what it is, man. I wish the fight was tonight.
Ray bless Longo with the is what it is. Ray, have you seen a special twinkle in Al's eye as he's rolled into camp every day? He said last camp was injury-free. We obviously know the adversity that he faced in Brooklyn, the one-day switch of opponents, all that. Has he kind of set aside the real estate for a minute to put fighting as the full-time focal point? Have you seen a different Al rolling into the Ray Longo facility, Law MMA?
I want to say same Al, but I don't want to say it. but no, he's the same guy. He really is. And the real estate gig, I was telling somebody, man, you could do that. You could show a house whenever you want to show a house, really. So it never interfered with him. He actually sold my mother's house for me. Did a great job, and that was probably about 2 months. You can't make this shit up, but it was, he got that thing done better than anybody. So I'm happy for the guy. And again, this isn't like me and Matt. Technically, it's not like kind of like a school where you got to be here this time, that time. Man, we were training Sunday nights at 9 o'clock, Saturday nights, Saturday afternoons. It doesn't matter. So I don't care what his schedule is.
Around the open houses, right?
Around, it doesn't even matter. Yeah, I mean, because I'm always Farrell, and a couple of guys. I'm available 24 hours, 24/7. So it doesn't matter. So it's not. These guys could do whatever they want, and again, they train hard. They're not training 3 times a day, but the 1 or 2 times they're going to train, it's fucking brutal. So you got to recover too. Recovery's a big part of everything, and I'm excited, man. We'll see what happens. He had a really good camp, so should be a great fight.
Can't wait for it, man. Ray Longo, MMA on Twitter. Ray, my last thing, to piggyback off what I was saying before, I know you're feeling it. I'm sure Al's feeling it. I think Matt should start to, poke Dana White about the idea of a title shot next if he gets it done, and especially if he gets it done in a dominated fashion. But looking at the timeline for the rest of 2019, you got Khabib and Poirier looking about September. Do you think Al's going to wait around for another 8 months for maybe an early winter showing against Khabib or Dustin? Or could you see him fighting a Tony Ferguson or a Justin Gaethje and just building his stock up that much?
Again, man, I'm going to say, let's have this conversation Monday morning.
All right.
Let's see what happens, man. Let's just take care of business. I don't want to even look into the future. I just want to look 2 days ahead and hope it goes the way I think it's going to go in my head, and then we'll move on from there.
In your head, how do you think it's going to go? Is it going to be a knockout in the second round? Are we going to go? Are we going to get a submission? Are we going to get a 5-round decision? What are you thinking?
I think I think he gets it done by knockout.
Whoa! Dude. Can we call around?
I think he's coming in guns blazing, so we'll see what happens.
I love it,
Ray. Dude, thank you so much, man. That's awesome, man. We're looking this fight. There's so much anticipation for this fight because that Cerrone is always looking for a battle, and Al has been putting on shows the past few fights. So this is just this is a fight fan's dream right here on UFC Ottawa coming up on that.
Yeah, and they're really 2 great guys in the sport, both of them. They really are. I've always been a Cerrone fan, so it's a great opportunity for Al. It's going to be a great night.
Ray, I don't know if you can hear it. We got Yonkers on the mic with Pete and Ron Conkham on the mic with me, man. Obviously, we want Al to do his best, but, dude, we're picking with our hearts. We hope to bring the belt back to Long Island. And my mother said, she doesn't say this for anything. You met her when she came down to the gym. She grabbed me by my beanie and put me in my place. She goes, if Al is a UFC champion, I will make my special chicken parm dish for him. I go, all right,
wow.
Mom. Yeah.
Well, that's big. That's huge.
That's huge, man.
Listen, Ray, again, thank you for the time, man. Yeah, you're awesome. Appreciate it. Best of luck Saturday versus Cerrone.
Awesome, guys. Thanks a lot.
This is Francis Ngannou. You are listening to WFAN's Outside the Cage podcast.
So again, Ray Longo, thanks so much for joining us. That was amazing. Thank you all for watching our wonderful podcast. We are here every week doing stuff. Ike Feldman, Pete Hoffman, Outside the Cage. Any final thoughts as we wrap up another episode of Outside the Cage?
Yes. Parents, pay attention to your kids. No, I mean, great fights.
Don't do as many drugs as other people.
Yes, no drugs, parents or kids. Just final thoughts, dude. The Ottawa card, UFC Fight Night 151. It's awesome, man. We got Cowboy Al. We got Shane Burgos. Brunson Theodoro. We got what's the guy's name from Georgia? Not Atlanta, Georgia.
Merab Dvalishvili.
Merab Dvalishvili is fighting. It's gonna be fun.
And then there's also a Canelo Alvarez fight going on too, but you don't have to watch that unless you want to. It's on the Zone. You can do that. Listen, not for nothing, but I get it, so I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it.
I noticed that when you started breaking down something from DAZN, I was like, did he order the DAZN?
I have it already.
I gotta do it now.
I might as well watch it. Now, the only thing is, they screwed you people. They screwed you. I'm grandfathered in. I'm only $9.99 a month.
If you order
it
it
now?
now, it's $19.99 a month.
Fuck that.
I got the goods. Maybe I'll give some passwords out. No, maybe I won't. I don't know. We'll see. We will be back next week with more Outside the Cage. Again,
Oh, wait. Theodoro, too.
Nick, what's
Dude,
up, buddy?
There's an Elias Theodoro fighting this weekend on the same fight that we just talked about. I know you don't know MMA, but...
He does. He watches all the fights.
You related to this guy?
He watches every single one.
You fucking related to this guy? Don't roll your eyes.
Put the bottle down, dude. We will be back. We will be back with more next week. Outside the Cage. Go. All the hyperlinks are below to find our Twitter accounts, YouTubes, which should be on right now, and articles.
Hyperlinks for inside articles. You got such an article on your mind.
I have no idea what's going on right now. See you guys.